First, fast, and accurate. News Channel 25, WVTT.
Well, it was partly cloudy with a high of only 33 degrees today here in Olean. Overnight tonight, we could see a low of 22 degrees, and it's going to be cloudy, maybe a little bit of precipitation. And then tomorrow, it looks like we're going to have a high of 37 degrees, maybe a little bit of sun, but there could be a wintry mix there also. We will have more details coming up later on in Twin Tiers Evening News.
Global news update on WVTT.
The Pope says he's resigning because of advancing age and failing strength. But journalists who've looked into the secretive doings of the Vatican say frustration may better describe why the Pope is walking away. CNN's Ben Wiedemann is live in Rome with the part of the story.
It was his last Angelus prayer. Pope Benedict XVI stressed again that he's not abandoning the Church. To the tens of thousands who listened in St. Peter's Square and had come to voice their support, it was a sentimental farewell.
La Chiesa è piena di zizzania.
To investigative newspaper journalist Conchita Di Gregorio, who has been delving into alleged wrongdoing at the Vatican for the last 6 months, Benedict's words carried much more significance.
Questo non significa abbandonare.
This doesn't mean to abandon, it means to fight, she says. Last Sunday he said we are fighting against the temptations of power. Temptation that may have proven too strong for some. Di Gregorio is one of the 2 journalists who have reported, as this headline in her paper says, sex and blackmailed careers are behind Benedict's resignation. Sordid tales of Vatican officials consorting with male prostitutes. At stake, Di Gregorio contends, is the very integrity of the Church.
Una curia in mano a una rete.
A church governed, she says, by a network of officials, some of whom are compromised by their homosexual activities.
Alle frequentazioni anche sessuali.
Compromised perhaps to senior levels, says Ignazio Ingrao, a writer for the Newsweekly Panorama. How high does it go? Cardinals?
Fino ai cardinali. Sì, cardinals.
Signore Cardinali. Ingrao says he believes Pope Benedict's attempts at reform were stymied every step of the way.
In questi 8 anni il Papa.
In these 8 years, the Pope has repeatedly made calls to stop the divisions, he says, to end the power struggles in the Curia, and to have more transparency. But these calls weren't heeded. The latest claims, flatly denied by the Vatican, are based on interviews with senior Vatican officials the journalists did not identify and dozens of other unnamed sources. Having struggled with controversy since the beginning of his pontificate, the 2 Italian journalists conclude Benedict lost faith in those who were supposed to support him.
Si è deciso in solitudine perché non si fidava.
He decided by himself, says Di Gregorio, to resign because he no longer trusted the men around him.
Thank you for the prayers.
Benedict says he's not abandoning the Church, but according to these accounts, the Church may have abandoned him. Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Rome.
In South Korea, history has been made with the swearing in of the country's first female president, Park Geun-hye. Park was elected last December with a 52% majority. For all the new president's links to the past, it's what Park does next that'll define her leadership. CNN's Anna Corin reports.
While the world may not know much about South Korea's first female president, the life of Park Geun-hye and her family fill the nation's history books. Born into politics, her father, Park Chung-hee, was described by some as the country's first dictator. He seized power in a military coup in 1961, when the young Park was just 9 years old. He would rule South Korea with an iron fist for the next 18 years, overseeing huge economic growth as well as human rights abuses. Personal tragedy hit Park Geun-hye while she was studying overseas in 1974. Back in Seoul, her mother was shot by a North Korean sympathiser. The bullet was intended for her father. The botched assassination attempt drastically changed the course of Park Geun-hye's life. Her dreams of being a professor were replaced with the role of de facto First Lady. as she put the nation's interests above her own. 5 years later, there was another assassination attempt on her father. This time, it was successful. His intelligence chief shot him at a dinner party, saying he wanted South Korea to become a free democracy. It was 2 decades later before Park Geun-hye decided to return to the public spotlight and launch her own political career. And last December, as the head of the Conservative Party, the 61-year-old who never married and doesn't have children was elected president with an overwhelming majority. One of her major challenges as president will be dealing with North Korea. She met the late Kim Jong-il in 2002 in an attempt to end the bad blood between the two families. Park Geun-hye says she wants to resume talks with North Korea and restart the aid program, on the condition Pyongyang abandons its nuclear weapons program. But after its 3rd nuclear test, analysts believe North Korean leader Kim Jong-un clearly isn't interested.
I think that North Korea will do is test her through these provocative acts. I think this nuclear test will be one of many. Traditional, non-traditional, military, paramilitary, and even cyber. They'll use everything at their disposal to see basically what President Park's mettle is. What is she made of?
But Kim Jong-un may have found a formidable adversary. Park Geun-hye is the ultimate survivor, overcoming personal tragedy to seize the nation's top office in a male-dominated society. Anna Corin, CNN, Seoul.
Jimmy Johnson won the Daytona 500 on Sunday, but the day belonged to Danica Patrick. She made history at the Great American Race. Joe Carter reports.
Drivers and Danica, start your engines!
Danica Patrick made history 3 times at the Great American Race. She started from the front, led a lap, and finished in the top 10. She's the first woman driver to accomplish any of those 3.
Great job. Great job. Who says girls can't do this crap?
Real proud for her. Hope she's happy. I know she probably want to run a little better than that, but she's got a lot of good racing up ahead of her, and this is a way you get off on the right foot.
Leading laps was nice, and you know, it's a little bit maybe more calm driving around here than Indy in an IndyCar, so I guess maybe I had, at least on your own anyway, especially in the lead, so I guess I had a little more time to look around and see the people.
She has no fear and is very comfortable. We're excited for our sport to have her in it and to bring this boost of casual fans that may not be avid NASCAR fans as of now, so it's great.
A not so great day on Wall Street. Let's take a look at the WVTT Wall Street wrap up. It's brought to you by News Radio 96.7 WVTT. The Dow was down about 116 points. That's 216 points. That's a huge loss for the Dow. It closed at 13,784. The Nasdaq was down about 46 points to close at 3116, and the S&P down 28 points to close at 1488. More to come. This is Twin Tiers Evening News.